Hello, my name is Lenny Matthews, and this is the LMS Extra Show. Give yourselves a big hand. Only seen on the social networks, not on regular cable. Because I see, you know what, we advertise in a book. And the Access Channel will rip it off. Well, no further ado. This young lady next, what's your name, my friend?
It's Chiquita. Chiquita Camille Payne.
Give her a big hand. You were here for a book signing today, right? At Sisters, yeah?
Yes.
Did you, as Cousin Brucey was there already, did you have a ball?
I had to give it up to Sisters Uptown. I mean, what a blessing to be here and then have you coming in at this point and allow me to share my book.
Yes, tell us a little about your book.
The book is called Just Because. It actually started off as a poem that I wrote years ago. I was wanting to write something about my family because I grew up with a very close family.
Yes.
Not rich financially, but rich with love. So when I came up with this poem, I was happy with that until I had a son. You know how it is, you get that mother love, that instinct, things happen. And my son really liked looking at books. I have a picture of him, 8 months old, trying to look at a book upside down.
No, that's a good sign. How many kids sit back and look at a book?
Right. So I said, what better gift to give him than to write a book, and what better than a family? Because I think that family, the core value of family is being lost, and so getting back to that and understanding that, you know, that there's
really
love, right? That there's love and family, and whether it's not just mom and dad, it's cousin, auntie, play cousin, you know, your best friend, grandma, grandpa.
You know, I was talking to someone on the phone about that. I was talking on the phone this morning with, I think I was talking to Ms. Wilson, and we were talking about sometimes one time families get together when somebody gets married and somebody died.
Right, exactly.
And I said, and I was sitting back and reflecting on my parents. They've been passed away for about 11 years. I hope the family don't see this, but I'm going to call the cars where I see them. I haven't seen them for over 11 years. Afterwards, that's it.
Right, and see, and that's what I want people to get back to when that wasn't it. You know, there was a time my aunt, she would, you know, oh, I found the sale on some fish. Why don't you all come over? My mother would make some potato salad.
Oh,
Grandma
what kind of fish? What kind of fish? What kind of fish?
She had a smorgasbord. We had orange roughy and you know, whiting and all that. But I mean, it was always just because. Now I told you we were rich with love, not financially.
Yes.
But you know, so it was all those things. Somebody just felt like hanging out. Somebody else came by at the same time. Then they pulled out cards, turned on the music, and it was a get together. And that's, you know, it's just simple things. And so that's why I call the book Just Because. Because whether it's a big event or no event at all, it's just about coming together. And it even talks about how we're not perfect, but we're perfect for each other. You know, we're going to help each other out. We're going to do what we can. May not have much, but always willing to share. So, you know, for us to understand that, I mean, I call it a children's book, but it's really a family book. Because adults can read it and appreciate it and say, oh yeah, and that's what I need to bring back to my family.
I remember here in the book cover, they had a book. I thought it was an adult book. I was sitting back here reading a kid's book.
I know, right? Ooh, some of the things in the books.
I mean, well, no, in this book they talk about, they said, will you be my girlfriend? Will you be my boyfriend? What kind of book is this? Y'all trying to throw over on me.
Exactly. I know. So I'm hoping that people will discover this and like this to get back to just the simple family stuff, you know. Not trying to make it anything hard or stuff, but you know, kids having fun,
just like
adults having fun.
Like the state of Maine say, things that what ought to be, right?
Right.
And they live by that. They live by that. They ought to be. Sit back in the back porch, listen to old music. I ain't listened to music in a long time. So you go up there, that part is slow pace, but you know, way things ought to be. I agree with you 1,000%.
Thank you.
How long you taking been writing this book?
That was a process, and that, like I said, it started off as a poem, but to turn a one-page poem into a 24-page book, that was a task. So I actually had a couple friends that have written books before help me, and then this wonderful, magnificent illustrator, Jerry Craft, he helped me formulate the book and change some of the wording around and maybe place it here or there to help it flow better. So I was really blessed with the people that were there to help me. So I'd say in total about 2 years. just because in finding an illustrator, you know, getting it set up into the book form, and Jerry Craft is such a great illustrator, and catching my family, I started bugging him about the littlest things. Well, can you make the eyes a little bigger? You do this a little differently. I mean, he's so great that, you know, we were able to create what I feel is a great piece. It's a great piece, and people are loving it because it's my truth.
Well, you know, since we're on the social networks, do you have a website or anything people can contact you on?
I do. I am on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, which is Chiquita Camille. That's ChiquitaCamille.
What? Okay.
And that's also my website, chiquitacamille.com.
Okay.
But yes.
Do it again, because somebody may drop their pencil, they broke it, they ran out of ink. Do that again.
Okay. It's the website and my Facebook page is chiquitacamille.com. Just like the banana, Chiquita
banana. Remember these old shows, old commercials, 50s?
Exactly. Camille, all one word, all lowercase, chiquitacamille.com or Chiquita Camille on Facebook. And you'll see my picture of my book as well.
I'd like to thank you very much, and you know you're always welcome back. I'll talk to you in the back room. I got plans for you.
Yeah. Thank you so very much, Lenny, for having me, and continued success.
Continued success too. And that name again?
Chiquita Camille Payne.
Give it up for Chiquita. LMS Extra, we're coming right back. We have what else coming up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And welcome to the LMS Extra Special. Boy, we have, oh my goodness, we have a young lady from the Bronx chapter of the National Action Network, founded by Reverend Al Sharpton, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Reverend Al. What is your name, my friend?
My name is Dashawn Williams.
Give Dashawn Williams a big hand, everybody. I thank Michelle for bringing you down here, and she mentioned to me, tell us a bit about yourself before we go.
Sure, and I thank you so much for having me on your show. Thank you so much. Michelle is an advocate. She's a member of the National Action Network, and she heads our crisis chair committee. And so the National Action Network was founded, the Bronx chapter, in March of 2013.
Okay.
So we're just a little over a year old, and you know, the National Action Network has been founded over 20 years. So we have over 70 different chapters. So there was some challenges in the Bronx. It's a different environment.
What's the challenges in the Bronx?
Well, the demographics, the diversity, you know, people would assume that the National Action Network being a black organization, we're a civil rights organization, and civil rights is human rights. That goes across the board.
I remember I went to the convention. Oh, did I have a good time at Reverend Al's convention.
In fact, we had the President of the United States
yes.
here this year in 2014.
Rocking his plan.
Yeah, he shut down all the traffic, but the message was powerful, and it was on voter suppression and voters' rights.
You know, head on that, because this is important, because right now what they're doing is, as it is taped and beyond, they're they already took away, the Supreme Court already took away the title, you know, the Article 5 and voters' right, whereas people gerrymandering, and the people thought it was just a South thing. It's not a Southern thing, folks. It's a Northern thing too.
It is.
And I know, like in Brooklyn, that's how we got a district in Brooklyn, and when they monitor, I think they have people from the Justice Department monitor these things. Now they don't have to monitor because, well, what did the head of the Supreme Court? Well, y'all don't need it no more.
No, we need it, and we gotta fight for our rights. We definitely have to fight for our rights. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and that's where my heart is, but I'm a Bronxite, 25 years, and I know that Brooklyn has a real stronghold on the politics, but voters' rights, we're under attack, and this is a nationwide issue. It's actually the 50th anniversary of the Freedom Summer.
Yes.
And while, we're trying to educate, so the one critical component is to organize, to mobilize, and then educate. Our young folks are disconnected from civil rights. They don't think civil rights is their issue.
I know. We have people who are fighters, like Ms. Rice is right here. She's a fighter in her own rights. Give Ms. Rice a big hand. People in my age group, child, they don't know what's going on. And they're not passing it down to the other, they're not passing it down to the some people don't even know who Martin Luther King is.
Right, and people would assume that Martin Luther King, so this is the 50th anniversary of the Freedom Rights, the Freedom Summer. And, you know, the Voter Right Act was very important. We just feel that we don't have the right to vote. Don't buy that class. Get out of that class. We have to vote. And while many of our young folks, you know, they are somewhat familiar with Dr. Martin Luther King, but they don't even realize that it wasn't even Dr. Martin Luther King's testimony. It was Fannie Lou Hamer's testimony that got us, you know, the Voters' Right Act. It was that extra proof.
And then we talk about it as a, like you said, the National Action is a human rights organization. Also, too, we had the 3 civil rights workers and the 2 were white, you know, who were killed down in Mississippi. Also, to the Mississippi, also, you know, who was going to from Selma to Montgomery, and you know, we have a lot of people who really, you know, and this is a human rights issue.
You're right, and you know what? Let's fast forward to just most recently, Eric Garner in Staten Island, who was killed by the police. And you know, we have Ramarley Graham's family in the Bronx, you know, and had it not been for footage, you know, that's why I appreciate you being able to put this information out into the community. I mean, education and community, it's everyone's issue. It is everyone's issue. But Eric Garner was just killed in Staten Island, and the National Action Network did a full rally, and the mayor, de Blasio, called for some answers. So that was just today at the House of Justice, and you can normally come to the House of Justice on Saturday from 9 to 11. You can hear Reverend Sharpton and address some major issues that are hitting us across the nation.
And these are really hitting us too, right?
Yes, yes. And by the time we wake up, you know, we're hoping that so much damage has not been done. But if you look at 50 years ago, and you look at just last week, and this gentleman was killed in the middle of the street by police. If you just put it in black and white, take all that color out of it, you know, put it in black and white, we're dealing with the same issues.
I want to ask you a question, because we're going to have on the regular show, we're going to have a young gentleman come and talk about this too. The National Action Network, people say, oh, well, the National Action, they just do it when the police are around and all that kind of stuff. You're fighting, especially with we knocking off one another.
And you know, that's where we are. We've turned into that. We've started to, you know, eat each other up alive. Our young folks are doing it. And so the Bronx chapter, we were just community organizers, moms, dads, and we made a difference.
Briefly, and we're gonna bring it back another day. I want to talk more about the African burial ground in the Hunts Point. Tell us about that.
Okay. Well, it initially, you know, slavery in New York, across this nation, you know, it's an ugly truth that many don't want to address. But if you look at the prison industrial system today, it is a modern day of slavery. And so the enslaved African burial ground on May 17th of this year, 2014, we had an unveiling, a signage unveiling that went from the Joseph Rodman Drake Park. So now that it also includes the enslaved African burial ground, and the uniqueness of this particular burial ground is that the white slave owners are buried there, picketed fence, well, wrought iron, but it's been kept upgraded all these years. In Hunts Point, the slave owners' names line the street, the Hunts, Leggett's, Willets, and things.
We would like to thank you very much, and we're going to be bringing you back with your consent on another date, but I would love to hear more about this.
Thank you.
What is your name?
Dashawn Williams. You can find me, you know, you can email me, DashawnWilliamsNYC@gmail.com. The House of Justice is located at 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem.
Thank you so much. Elements, extra pictures. Take it down.